Good afternoon, my conscious co-creators. Welcome to another edition of the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity. I am very, very pleased that you are all here with me today. We've got another wonderful show with a great author coming on in just a few minutes. I'm sure you'll really appreciate this show. Um, Before I get into my blog post, I just want to briefly talk about something that I learned happened this week. On Monday, I got a call from a friend of mine letting me know that a mutual friend of ours on the West Coast had died by suicide. And, I knew this woman. I've known her for a few years virtually. I didn't know her very, very well, but I did know her. And the news kind of really hit me a little bit hard. And I was shocked because of the work that she did, um, that she would take her own life like that. And to me, it was just a big lesson in we never really know how much pain someone else is holding on to. And I just want to say that if you have a friend you haven't spoken to in a long time, if you know someone who's been dealing with depression, reach out to them. Don't wait for them to reach out to you. Unfortunately, when people are feeling so bad, they don't reach out to people. It's our job to reach out to them. So I just want to dedicate this show to Dawn, and I hope your soul is at peace now. And kind of a relevant blog post this week because the title is There is no substitute for being with people in real life. We now live in a world that is a hybrid of both the virtual world and the real world, coming together from all over on computer screens. Yet there is still life happening right in front of us. In the reality of this physical world, we still need to touch other people, to see them, to hold them, to smell them. We are still living in physical bodies that have physical senses. And as much as going virtual has opened us to meeting people from around the globe, it does not replace connecting with people in our own town. It cannot. For the experience of being with someone who is right in front of us, looking into their eyes, hearing their real voice, is not something that can be replaced. There is a joy that comes from the connection to the people who are in the same room as we are, to being present to what their whole body says, and to feeling the tactile sense of a handshake, a hug, or a kiss on the cheek. For some people, so much of life is now spent online, in that flat, distant connection that happens through our computers and phones. And it does serve a purpose. It does help to be able to connect with loved ones who are far away. And we still need to have the real life experience of being with people and being so close to them that you can touch them. Feel the air move between you, watching how they sit in their chair or stand up straight. There is so much richness in the moment when we are with someone in person. The light that comes from their eyes or the comfort of their voice, it all makes a difference to us. Yet it is easy to lose that richness when we get so used to connecting through the virtual world. Coming together in person builds more trust and deeper relationships than we can possibly create at a distance. So perhaps we can learn to value that in-person experience a bit more. Maybe we can remember what it is like to hold another human being and be held. The joy of that physical connection and the comfort of their presence in our lives. Nothing can replace being in the presence of those we love. So let us remind ourselves just how precious those experiences are, making just a little room in our life for actually being in the same room with people. There's no replacement for the physical connection, no matter how good our screens get. So where in your own life can you make some room for seeing people more in person? So unlike most of my blog posts that there was some incident or something happened that caused me to write about a certain topic, this one, there wasn't anything specific. It was really just, I was just missing being with people. It was really just a feeling of having been on Zoom most of my day for weeks on end, as I usually am, talking to people all over the place, how much I truly missed getting together and seeing people in person. I remember before the pandemic, I was a member of a number of different networking groups here in New York City, and we always used to meet in person, like once a month. You know, some groups more frequently than that, some less. And then the pandemic hit and everything went virtual. And now so many of those groups don't meet in person on a regular basis. I mean, they might have an in-person meeting once every 3 or 4 months when the weather is nice, but not so much anymore. Because especially in New York City, it's hard to find a space to hold a networking group that you don't have to pay a ton of money for. And in talking to other people, I find it's the same in many, many places. Now, for those people who live remotely and live, in rural areas or live in a place where they have to drive an hour and a half to get to a center of population, I mean, it's great. It's great. It's wonderful. But it doesn't replace being in person with people. It doesn't replace that human contact, that, being able to really hold someone and hug someone. And so I just knew if I'm feeling this way, if I'm feeling like I'm missing being in the presence of people, there are other people out there also missing that. And so this blog post is just really giving voice to that feeling. It's just allowing it to be okay that that's what I feel. And maybe that's what you feel. Maybe not. Maybe you have a big family and you have, brothers and sisters and cousins and children running around your house all the time. But these days, I feel like that's more the exception than the rule. And I feel like it's an important reminder that while being on the computer or being on our phones, is can make us feel connected. It's not the same as being connected in real life. And I just hope that we never lose that desire to be with people in real life. Now, look, people in general can disappoint. People can be difficult. People can be crazy. I know. I know. And there's still tremendous value in being in the same room with other people. So I would guess this message for this week is find an opportunity to be in the same room with other people who share an interest. Meetup is still a thing. There are tons of meetup groups. Find a meetup group that appeals to you. Maybe find some kind of social group if you haven't been social, if you've been primarily staying home and not going out, find a way to connect to other human beings who you would just like to be in their presence, and go and be in their presence. And let me know if that's different for you. How did that feel? How was that for you? Because sometimes when we've not had something in our life for a long time, we forget the feeling. And then when we re-engage with it, suddenly something opens up that we didn't expect. So that's my blog post. The title is "There's No Substitute for Being with People in Real Life." And of course, you can always find my blog at my personally branded website, theconsciousconsultant.com, and on the station's website, talkradio.nyc/blog. Okay, now it is my extreme pleasure to welcome to the show Lisa Biritz. Biritz?
Yeah, Biritz, you pronounced it just right.
Ah, perfect. I wasn't sure. I didn't get a chance to check with you before. Author of Shamanic Soul Retrieval, a wonderful little book that we're going to be talking a lot about, as well as the Shamanic Star Wisdom Oracle deck. Drawing from years, that I didn't get. I got to get that. Drawing from years of study in core shamanism, the Hawaiian Huna tradition, and teachings from respected lineage holders, Lisa brings a deeply experiential understanding of how ancient wisdom can support modern healing. Splitting her time between Hawaii and Austria, she leads seminars and immersive experiences that reconnect people to nature, spirit, and their own inner wholeness. Lisa introduces the concept of shamanic soul retrieval, the idea that parts of our soul can fragment and separate due to trauma, stress, or overwhelming life experiences. And she explains how this soul loss can show up in our lives as low energy, disconnection, addiction, or a feeling that something essential is missing. Through practical insight and grounded examples, Lisa shares how these lost parts can be called back, restoring vitality, clarity, and a deeper sense of self. Welcome to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Lisa.
Hi, Sam. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. You're so welcome.
And I'm sorry for your loss first on about your friend.
Yeah,
So may light go on with her soul.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate that. Again, sometimes something happens to someone we know, but we're not that close with, and it affects us more than we expected it would. And this one just kind of caught me by surprise. Um, how did you get into studying about shamanism and these indigenous traditions? It's not something that, I mean, it's becoming more and more popular, but it's not something quite as mainstream as a lot of studies are. So I'm curious, like, when you were growing up, did you have exposure to this? Did you always have kind of a calling to seek out different things, or was this something that developed later in life, or was there something specific that called you towards it?
No, I didn't grow up with this at all, which is possibly why I was looking for answers and help in certain areas. And I came across it when I was around 2021.
Hmm.
I was traveling, I was working as a journalist, and I was traveling to Namibia with a reporter and came across shamanism and shamanic practices there the first time. And it
Hmm.
absolutely intrigued me. And I felt I want to learn more, I want to experience more. And I had a lot of issues in my life, health issues, emotional issues, where regular psychotherapy education wasn't really helping me, medicine giving me answers. And I
Hmm.
started getting the answers in those areas that I was looking for. I also learned a lot about other types of teachings and also got a lot of good from those. Buddhism and who knows what else a lot. But probably the shamanic teachings have stayed with me the longest.
So there was something about the shamanic teachings that just resonated with you more deeply?
It worked. That was the main thing.
Ah.
The problems that I had, it literally worked. It made things that I was dealing with for years, that I was just stuck on, it made me understand them, see them from a different perspective, and move on and
Hmm.
heal. So that's
Could you maybe give us an example of just maybe one thing you were struggling with that nothing else was helping, and then and like what kind of a shamanic practice really helped you to move forward from that struggle?
yeah. So I used to be a competitive athlete and a fairly decent one as well. And I had a lot of due to all the running and jumping, I had a lot of back pain, and the doctors were convinced that I would have to get a operation pretty
Mm.
early on. And I, of course, went into yoga. I started doing that. But then when I started working, and this took years, so this was a process that I was going through for years. And then when I came across the shamanic work and I really started learning in this area, and I received soul retrieval and extraction, it went away fairly soon, within a couple of weeks, and it hasn't
Mm.
come back. I mean, yeah, I still need to stretch and exercise normal like everybody else, especially when we sit a lot in front of the computer.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the issues that were connected to that, it just worked, and I can give many examples like that, several from myself and also from other people.
Mm.
And it works for some people, it doesn't work for other people. I don't believe in only one path. The
Yeah.
paths that we find to healing and to wisdom are so multifaceted as there are types of people, plants, animals on our planet, and it's supposed to be
Mm.
exactly like that. There is no
Mm.
one path better than the other.
Mm. And and how long did you studied all these things before you kind of felt the calling that you should publish something about it?
I'd say about before I would publish, that was around 20 years. Articles,
Mm.
yeah, I like writing
Okay.
articles earlier on because I was as trained as a journalist. That's what I did in university and worked in for quite a long time before I switched full time to the healing work. But actually, publishing books about it, that was about 20 years, yeah.
Well, and what kind of was the impetus for you to switch into doing the healing work full time? Like, what got you to kind of make that step of like, this is my path?
I was at that point, even though I really loved working in mainstream journalism and I was also
Mhm.
what you would consider successful, I realized it was a dead end for me in terms of
Mm.
depth. I am not a superficial person, even though I enjoy going out and having fun and dancing and all
Yeah.
that and art and food. I can do it and I enjoy it regularly. Like you were saying in your blog, it's
Mhm.
so important to be with people in real person,
Yeah.
and I try to enjoy that as much as I can with my loved ones, my family, and also friends, going out and just doing stuff together and enjoying life at the
Mhm.
surface. And at the same time, I have a hard time connecting with anything, work, people, where I don't feel that there is a certain depth or willingness to really go down to where it's dark
Mhm.
and icky and
Mm.
into
Really?
the shadows.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Um, and so like you studied this stuff for a long time. Was there a specific incident or something that got you to say, you know what, I need to step into this full time. I need to leave.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
where we were at. I got a
Yeah.
little sidetracked.
No problem.
Sorry. And I didn't have that in journalism anymore. And then
Hmm.
at the same time had already been studying these areas for a really long time. People were starting to approach me about it, to do sessions with them. My spirit guides were telling me that I should do this. I was a little bit nervous about it, but I also felt like I wanted to do it. And then I just said, okay, there was a certain incident at work where I just really felt like it was time to go, time to move on. You know, when unpleasant things happen, a lot of times they're showing us it's time to move on in some way if we missed the calling earlier. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I did, and it just evolved beautifully. I mean, the first couple of years, just living day by day, but never having to go in any debt, and that was great. And then it just from there on just bloomed more and more and more.
And how long ago was that you made that transition?
Oh, that would be about 20 years now. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So it's been a
I'm,
while. Okay.
yeah. Well, I'm 57,
Yeah.
and I did this in my early 30s, I think, the transition. Yeah.
Mm. Did,
Yeah.
did you get a hard time from when you made the transition from like friends and
Yes.
family? Did people
Yes. I knew what
that
you
was
were
like immediate?
asking.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of people fell away. They couldn't understand what I was doing. They thought I
Mm,
was nuts,
mm,
giving up a good job in a
mhm.
prestigious, at the time, magazine, and I was also working for radio, and doing something like this. And back then, it was much less known than it is nowadays.
Yes. Yeah.
It's luckily come more and more into the public eye again, all these alternative ancient healing methods and
Yeah.
modern day healing methods. And yeah, my parents also didn't really. My
Mm.
mom tried to understand. My dad, he didn't say it, but a friend of his said, my dad doesn't isn't alive anymore. And
Mm.
but a friend of his, he told me what a friend of his said. He says, "Oh, you've lost your daughter now." So, and it's okay.
Wow.
You have to follow your heart. But
Yeah.
some people stayed with me up to this day, still friends and family,
Wow.
of
Yeah.
course, and many new have come, and also many of them new friends stayed for new friends that have become old friends now that have been around for 20 years.
Mm.
So yeah, I think that's part of the journey. You've
Yeah.
probably gone through an experience like that too, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've gone through waves and waves of things like that happening throughout my life because it's been such a twisty, turny journey. I'm curious, did any of the practices you learned help you through that period, that transition period?
Yeah, all
All of
of
them.
them, and a lot of spirit beings. But the thing is, I was very afraid. I was scared, of course, but I
Mm.
had this unwavering sense of trust in my intuition and also what my spirit guides were telling me, and it proved to be true. And I felt so alive.
Ah,
I felt more alive than I had ever before because I was walking my authentic path and not the path that I was conditioned to be by family background and all
right.
those social norms, so to speak. And I can only encourage anybody going through such a transition to just go for it.
Hmm.
When not now. It's your
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
not to let other people live your life.
Right. Right. Don't let society dictate your happiness.
Yes, yeah.
It's really a work, internal work. So you said, and you mentioned how it was about 20 years of you studying this stuff before you started to write the book, although you had published articles along the time. Was there some calling? Was there something that said to you, okay, I got to write a book now. I got to publish something?
Oh yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
was that?
I had been trying to write a book for a long time, and it just didn't work. And somehow I was just too busy traveling and learning things and running all over the place. And what actually helped me to actually sit down and do it, my first book, it's called The Opening, and
Mhm.
was the birth of my twins. Because when you have twins, you're
Wow.
not
Mm.
very mobile. Like with one baby, you just kind of hang it around the front or the back and off you go. But with two
Right.
babies, I mean, we did do stuff, obviously, but you're a
Right.
lot more confined to just being at home. And I was actually really glad to be at home and just to
Mm.
enjoy them and have a break from running around. And I used that first year when I was at home with them to write
Mm.
in between when they were sleeping.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you made sort of, having twins, that's a pretty big life transition. But you used it to your advantage, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, and so when you first sort of stepped into the healing world, um, did you start with this shamanic soul retrieval, or did you start with other modalities and then that eventually evolved later?
I actually started with shiatsu, energy work, body
Ah,
work. Then I transitioned to energy work. I was doing that on the side, and I didn't do that very long because I noticed pretty soon, I realized that everything I was working with on people's bodies, the core of the issues and the problems is all on an energy level. And that's when
mm,
I really started also giving that, and it really went very quickly, very well. So,
mm.
yeah, because of the trust I had in this work.
Wonderful, wonderful. In your bio, it said you studied core shamanism. What is core shamanism?
Right. Core shamanism is a type of Western shamanism developed by an anthropologist. He deceased quite a few years ago, Michael Harner, who realized that studying indigenous shamanic cultures around the world, that when you take away all the different cultural differences, like the clothes they wear, the languages, the different norms in their particular society, the techniques that they use are all the same, regardless if it's like
Mm,
in Aboriginal Australian or Native American Indian or Native American South American or Mongolian. They have the same practices,
uh,
some of which are also the soul retrieval and extraction, which I talk about in my book.
mhm,
And from this, he developed, together with Sandra Ingerman, core shamanism because it's the core. So it's usable for Western people
mhm.
who have we have lost the connection to our ancient shamanism, but we had it as well, yeah, or our Celtic or
Yeah,
wherever we come from,
yeah,
our various different origins. It was just lost during the Middle Age and Middle Ages and the rise of technological society.
yeah.
And I had also learned other shamanism, and I've learned different types from different indigenous teachers around the world. But I loved learning this pretty early on because when I, whenever I go with an indigenous shamanic teacher, I immediately know what they're doing because of this core shamanic knowledge. I don't even have to know their language. I can just see it and perceive it. And I could tell that if like a Western person who doesn't have this core shamanic background is watching them, it's like big question mark for them. They're like, what the
Mhm,
heck is going on here?
mhm,
And feeling overwhelmed and like they have to learn the language and who knows what. And this core shamanic techniques practices, it takes you right to the basis
mhm.
of what is actually being done.
So it sounds like it's a great foundational sort of study where you learn
It's,
the
yeah,
foundations of all this stuff so that then when you see how it's applied in different cultures, you have the foundation to understand the context of it and what's going
yes,
on
yeah,
without necessarily being so familiar with the actual individual rituals or the actual
yeah,
cultural
yeah.
differences. Wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's also for anybody who's interested in learning this. Michael Harner and Sandra Ingerman developed the Foundation of Shamanic Studies, and they have chapters, groups all over the world. So
Hmm.
South Africa, United States, England, Europe, you can Google Foundation for Shamanic Studies, and they all teach the same type
Hmm.
of core shamanism, which I
Hmm.
also learned.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to start getting into what is shamanic soul retrieval and this wonderful little book, which I really appreciate the fact that it's a little book, and really get into what that is, how it can help people, and maybe we'll even before the end of the show we'll do a little practice if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Wonderful. So, everyone, please stay tuned. You're listening to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity. We do this every Wednesday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on talkradio.nyc and all over social media and on your favorite podcasting app. And we'll be right back with our guest, Lisa Biritz, in just a moment. Are you a spiritual seeker? Are you interested in expanded states of reality? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will dive into these topics with authors, teachers, researchers, and guides. Tune in at our new time, Wednesdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
And welcome back to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity. So Lisa, your book is entitled Shamanic Soul Retrieval, Calling Back Lost Parts of the Self. So let's get into it. What is soul retrieval?
Yeah, so you can imagine from a shamanic perspective, you can imagine that your soul is like a ball of light, a ball of energy. Everybody, or not everybody, but some people have seen a person who's not in their body anymore, who's passed, and the body really looks just like a wax figure. So it's this essence, it's the soul which gives it energy, which gives it vitality, which gives it life, light and life. And we're born with that. So, for example, in Hawaiian Huna shamanism, they talk about the bowl of light that you get born with, and then you have a symbolic bowl, and on regular basis you have to clean out that bowl of anything that gets in there and fill it up again with the parts that have left you. And the concept that parts leave your soul energy is why this work is so valuable, because it starts pretty early. Like, say your mother had something traumatic happen during your pregnancy that shocked her and also you because of that. Already a part of the soul might be, part of your soul might be leaving, or something happens to you as a kid, some accident or something maybe abusive. Parts of your soul live, and this goes through all your lifetime, bigger and smaller experiences, and these parts of the soul leave because dissociate is the psychological term, because at the time we're not able to integrate and not able to deal with it. So what the heck are you going to do in your mother's stomach when she's pregnant? How are you going to you're completely helpless. There's nothing you can do. Or when you're a kid, children generally are very helpless if they are around abusive parents or difficult situations. And because it's too much to bear, these feelings leave along with parts of our soul. And this is the reason why people who have had difficult or traumatic experiences a lot of times can't remember anymore exactly what happens. It's like a shadow.
Right. It's kind of because you disassociate, we're not really present. So when we're not present, it's hard to remember what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the camera is a little unfocused. There we go. You have to just wave your hand and then the camera focuses again.
Yeah.
Magic.
So continue, please. So our soul is like this ball of light,
Yeah, and
and
then like pieces of pizza will leave the soul, or
Mhm.
little holes, or excuse me, I just had a cold. My kids brought from school, and I'm actually pretty much over it, but I can feel my voice a little. So
Me too, me too. I
I
just
have a
had a bit of a
lozenge in.
sore throat, and
Yeah.
just
Spring.
yesterday was the first day I kind of felt like myself again.
Oh, good. So yeah, and when soul parts leave, they don't disappear forever. They're just hiding, lost. Sometimes they would like to come back after the shock is over, but they don't know how.
Mm.
And that's where soul retrieval comes in. This is done as a regular practice from a young age in indigenous shamanic cultures, also once in our cultures. But and then it's not a big deal. It's just like brushing your teeth, or once a week, I don't know, you cut your nails and whatever you need to do, or go to the dentist twice a year. But if you neglect it from an early age, it just becomes more and more and more, and more parts of our soul are fragmented, are dissociated, to the point where even though we might live healthy, eat good food, rest, exercise, do what we love, but still feel very drained, get ill easily, have accidents easily, whatever, have issues with addictions, whatever the issue is that is being caused by this. And also a very strong feeling of being not whole, like a certain sense of emptiness, loneliness. Like I can say from my own experience and also from watching other people, if I'm really full in myself, I can be anywhere alone. I've done, aloneness retreats or in a huge crowd. I don't know, Times Square. I was there last year. Some people might feel they suffocate in there, but if you're like, well, good in your space, in your soul, then pretty much anywhere is fine because you're full and whole and we're in yourself. But a lot of people have lost that sense.
Yeah.
A lot of people wake up in the morning feeling depressed. Yeah, it's more common to feel depressed waking up than feeling happy, and so this work I find so valuable and important because of that, because from a shamanic perspective, soul loss parts are the basis of health and the reason for all illnesses. Any
Mhm.
type of physical illness starts with soul loss.
Mm. Mm.
Physical, mental, spiritual illness, no matter what.
Yeah. So how do we call back these parts of ourselves?
Right. So obviously you can go to somebody who's trained to do this for more, I would say, heavy issues, but with even the heavy issues, you can start working with yourself or other just everyday soul retrieval for yourself. It's really not that hard. That's
Mm.
the thing that I love about shamanic practices, is that they're so simple
Mm.
once you learn them. And the
Right.
reason they're so simple is because they're so ancient. They're our oldest healing system on the planet. They go back 30, 40,000 years. And they've been passed on from generation to generation orally, by trial and error, what works, what doesn't work. And there's a very strong use of symbolic imagery and sensations, which is familiar to pretty much all humans. So you want to, well, I'll just tell you, let's say you want to do a soul retrieval right now for what might be the best for you if you don't know specifically what, or let's say you're, whatever you feel ill or something in your job isn't working. So whatever issue you want, so you say your name, you state that issue, you close your eyes, calm down, relax, breathe in and out, get into a meditative state, and you call a spirit guide if you don't have one yet. And anything might show up, an angel, a dwarf, an animal, power animal, and then you might see it, you might sense it, if you're not so visual, and then you ask, are you my helper guide? And then you'll get a sense, yes, if it sticks around, and then you'll ask it to help you. And then a lot of times it will take you with you on bringing back the soul part. So what is really fundamental to this work is that you do not have to do it yourself. You have the support and help of spirit guides from all different realms to come and support and help you, which makes it so much easier. We can't really solve problems with our brain. It's but usually when we relax, go into a meditative state, sometimes we get our best inspiration ideas, and the shamanic work specifically works with that relaxed state, trance state, in addition to working with spirit guides in different realms. And then this spirit guide might take you to there where your lost soul part is. Sometimes it'll go without you. It'll say, no, this is too much for you to deal with for whatever reason. There might just be really terrible things there. You know, a lot of times soul parts, often they're completely alone somewhere still on the planet where something might have happened, or in different dimensions, really just like lost in space, literally. And sometimes souls who have experienced similar things, like in hospitals or accidents or abuse, they tend to somehow flock together like in grapes. It looks almost like grapes, you could say. And if your spirit guide knows pretty well if you're able to handle that or not, and when it's something is just too much, too terrible, your spirit guide will do it for you and then bring your soul part back. Or you go there and bring the soul part back with your spirit guide. And then you ask, are you my soul part? And the soul part is usually the age it left you. So you might see a little baby, or you might even see yourself in a past lifetime looking completely different gender, different skin, maybe even from a different planet. It's all possible. And then you first identify, are you my soul part? So, because you want to make sure that it's not somebody else's. Doesn't happen often, but it can happen. And then you ask, why did you leave me? And then you listen. Yeah, and if it's a baby, obviously, when you were a baby, a lot of times you won't hear it verbally, but you'll start remembering, you'll start seeing images. It takes time to do this, and it goes very deep, can be painful remembering these things. That's part of the process. And then you ask your soul part, what qualities left with you? Yeah, and for example, the soul part might say, well, trust, the ability to trust in other people, or joy, or childlikeness, or how would you say childness? I don't know. Being a kiddo.
Yeah. The child quality, yeah.
child quality or the sense of artistic creation, that just joy, passion, just about every aspect of abundance, every aspect of our life may have left us. And then you ask, do you want to come back? And usually they'll say yes right away. And sometimes they'll say, no, I'm scared, and then you have to explain to them, well, I'm an adult now and this is not going to happen to you again. I'm able to look after myself, after you, and I promise I will take care of you. And then they will come back to you, and then you feel how they come back to you, how you breathe them in. You'll often also experience how your spirit guide will bring them back to you, how it melts into you. A lot of times this is also very emotional, and you ask what it needs so that it stays with you. So it might say, whatever it wants you to do, like go back to a certain place and plant a seed there, that there was meaning in what happened in your life. Yeah, that nothing is in vain, even if it was painful, forest nearby, or go to a hot bath or a sauna every 2 weeks for a while, if it's something connected with your body. And it's just a whole different variety of things might show up. Yeah.
How much time should someone, if they want to try this, how much time should they give themselves to do it?
About an hour and a half. It takes a while. It really does. Hour and a half, depending on how deep you are able to go. Sometimes you'll fall asleep in the process, and it doesn't mean that nothing's happening. On the contrary, the spirit guides are working in the background. And then when you wake up, you just continue where you left off. Like reading a book, you go back to the same last line where you drifted off. Same thing.
And it's interesting what you say about your spirit guides, because I've had other people come on my show who are channels and talk with angels and stuff, and they say things like, the angels are all around there waiting for you to ask them to do something, but they can't do anything until you actually ask.
Yep.
And so that the fact that we don't have to do it all on our own, and that there is sort of help out there in the spiritual realms, we just got to remember to ask for that help.
Exactly. It's the same like there's a ton of I don't know, manicurists in New York. Somebody has lousy nails, but if they don't go there,
right, they're not going to get
what can
better.
you do? Yeah.
One of the things I love about your book is that it's small, it's short, there are images in here, so it's relatively easy to digest and take it in. One of the things I noticed is you speak a lot about children in your book. Why is that?
Because in the indigenous shamanic cultures and also our own past as indigenous cultures where we lost this knowledge, this wisdom is started and done at a younger age already. So they teach their kids about it at an early age. They do it with like I was saying, if you do soul retrievals, I don't know, once a month regularly with your kids, or your kid comes home, had a fight at school, and then you take care of the wounds and give it a hug, and then do a soul retrieval for them, then you don't have to deal with that in 20 years when the kid is still having a trauma about a certain kid in school who bullied him, You just deal with it then and there. So, and also because I have children, and I've worked with children, and children are our future.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's our foundation for everything to move on well.
Yeah. What does the practitioner need to know that's not necessarily obvious about holding space for someone to do a soul retrieval?
Another thing about children is they understand this really well, because it's a work of imagery, and very easy for them to do and understand.
So it resonates with them on a very fundamental level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So if someone's a practitioner, what do they need to know about this that maybe isn't obvious on first glance?
A practitioner,
Like
well,
someone who's
they
holding
would,
space for someone doing soul retrieval.
well, they would have to learn it. You
Yeah.
can't just give it. That's not possible.
Right. Okay.
I would really, this book is not a training for people to work with it therapeutically with other people. It's an introduction to the topic and how to understand and work with yourself. I would recommend if anybody is a practitioner to do a good training
Training
and
with core shamanism.
yeah, and how to
Okay.
give soul retrievals.
Good. 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 Um, you've been doing this work for, I would say, a long time. Um, do you still come across challenges that you find like you really have to step back and go deep into a practice yourself in order to be able to come back? Or because this is such a regular part of your life, is it's just something so natural that the challenges don't feel like challenges anymore because you just integrate them right away?
Um, yeah, that's a very good question. So working with people, it has become how would routine is not the right word because it's so different every time, but it's like
Mm,
it's I can see quicker. That's also the feedback I get from people I work with, that I can quicker and easier see what the issue is that needs to be dealt with. But my challenges, where I am learning at this point, is with my children.
your own children. Yeah.
Yeah, they are 16-year-old twins
Ooh.
and two girls and we love each other and we get along very well. And at the same time, there are a lot of challenges to
Hmm.
watch them grow from my perspective, awareness, how I would do things, and to understand that I have to give them their space to make their own experiences and they're so different from me. They're similar in
Mm,
some ways, but also similar in many ways, but also so different. And that is at the moment, where I'm really evolving spiritually is to give them that space when I'm worried, to let go of my worry and to support
mm,
them where I can. So that's very challenging for me.
yeah.
That's where I really grow. And yeah, because I've literally, but isn't it nice? You think you know it all. You've worked with thousands of people, done tons of groups, dealt with all kinds of situations and things, and just feel really ripe and wise in a certain way. And then boom, life just throws you a curveball and you start all over again and like,
Yeah.
wow, I don't know anything. So this has
Yeah.
been very humbling and good for me.
Ah, good. Good. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, I've heard so many teachers say the same thing, that like your children are your biggest teachers.
Yeah, and especially I work in the area of spiritual and soul and personality development, and when you know so much, I think it's even more challenging when you have kids to not
Yeah.
be overbearing and give them their space. And they come and ask questions anyhow, but sometimes it's just like, I know it's too much. I gotta
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious, since you started doing this work, do you find people are more open to it now, or do you feel it's kind of the same? Like when you talk about this work, do you find like just the average person is more curious, more open, or less, or the same than before?
And like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think more people are open to it. More people have heard about it,
Hmm.
and ask questions. And that's just one of the wonderful things about the internet, that information has traveled and moved on in good ways as well. And you are
Mhm.
contributing to that with your show. And thank you so much, Sam.
Of course, of course. Thank you. So if people want to learn more about you, get in touch with you, seek your services, how did they find you? Where would they find you online? How'd they get in touch with you?
The best on my homepage, it's lisarainbow.com.
Okay. And what kinds of services do you offer to people?
I give in Europe, I give trainings for those who are in Europe. I give in-person trainings. I also do online trainings. So it's you can find it all on my homepage.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Lisa. So that's lisarainbow.com. And Lisa, please, if you ever happen to come through New York City again, don't let me know if you're going to be in Times Square. I'm more than happy to meet you there.
Great. Thank you, Sam.
Absolutely. And thank you for taking the time to come on my show today. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And of course, thank you, my loyal listeners, for tuning in each week. Without you, there is no show. And don't forget, if you did miss any part of today's show, you can always catch the replay on talkradio.nyc and on all your favorite podcasting apps like Apple, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio. Wherever you love to listen to podcasts, you can find the Conscious Consultant Hour. Thank you all for tuning in. Take care. We will talk to you all next week.